Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are tuning in. Thank you so much for joining me today for my next installment of Facebook Live. And so today I'm going to be talking, or continuing my talking, around loving kindness. Loving kindness. The practice of metta. Metta is the Sanskrit word, the Pali word, that is most often translated into loving kindness. But for me, there's a translation that speaks perhaps a little bit closer to exactly the quality, I think, that is being cultivated. And that, I think, is unconditional friendliness. Unconditional friendliness. That we take with great concern our own well-being and the well-being of others. And we, with practice, with time, we widen our circle of care to include ourselves, to include people we like, we love, then to include people we don't know, and then eventually including people we don't like, and then to the entire world. And so for today's offering, I'd like to speak a little bit about offering this unconditional friendliness to people who challenge us, or to people who we consider an enemy, perhaps, or people we don't like very much. So you might be asking yourself at this time, well, why is Chris showing up on Facebook and Instagram talking about loving kindness? Fair enough, fair enough question. And so I'm doing this series on Facebook Live and Instagram as a way of building up momentum to an 8-week online meditation program that I'm offering on loving kindness. So just now I'll give the details for this online retreat. Perhaps you might be interested in signing up for a program such as this. So here are the details. The title of the retreat is Loving Kindness, Widening Our Circle of Care. We run from October 5th to November 26th. And this program is being offered in two sections, two separate sections. The first section, Section A, or Section 1, is 8 to 10 p.m. on Wednesdays and Sundays, East Coast time. Wednesdays and Sundays, East Coast time. So if you're in Asia, that's going to be 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., at least here in Thailand, 7 to 9 a.m. On Thursdays and Monday mornings. Thursdays and Monday mornings. Or if you're in the Philippines, it's 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Thursdays and Monday mornings. Thursday and Monday mornings. So do adjust your clocks accordingly. There is a second section that I'm opening that is really being offered to cater for people who are in Europe, or perhaps people in Asia, but who like a later start to the day. And so Section 2 is Thursdays and Mondays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon in France, so Western European time, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Thursdays and Mondays. So that's in Thailand, that's 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. in Thailand. Now keep in mind that for many places of the world, there will be a time change, daylight savings and things like that. So you'll have to adjust your clocks accordingly. The times don't change in Thailand where I'm located, so the local time of the offering will remain the same, so people will have to change their clocks accordingly. Now that being said, everything is being recorded over Zoom for the retreat, so if you would like to sign up for the retreat but you know you'll miss a few sessions or several sessions, or even if you're going to miss all the sessions, that's totally fine. Everything is recorded and made available only to the retreat participants shortly after each session. So the retreat, includes guided meditations that I'll be offering, plenty of Q&A opportunity, plenty of discussion opportunity. There's also ample opportunity to sign up for one-to-one sessions. I make myself available throughout the retreat for retreat participants for one-to-one sessions and things like that. Also, there's a Facebook community page that is organized around the retreat, so you can connect with the retreat participants and things like that. So, yeah, I hope that's helpful for you. For more information about the retreat, and if you'd like to go ahead and register, please do go visit the website www.suchsweetthunder.org. suchsweetthunder.org. And you can find out all of the information about the Loving Kindness retreat and the other retreat that I'm offering as well, which is self-compassion, forgiveness, and the inner critic. Okay, so I'd like to start today's offering with just a brief guided meditation. So I'll ring the bell and I'll bring us into the present moment, and we'll do some phrases of loving kindness. We'll offer some phrases of loving kindness to our own heart towards the end of this practice, just as a way of setting the stage and staying with the theme. So I'll ring the bell and I'll guide us. And so the invitation here is just to arrive into this present moment. And there are many ways of arriving and connecting to the present moment. And for this practice, perhaps just starting with the experience of the breath. And so just taking a nice deep breath if that feels helpful. Feeling into how the breath moves through the body with the in-breath and the out-breath. Perhaps noticing the rising and falling of the abdomen. The expanding and contracting of the rib cage with each breath. Perhaps noticing the rising and falling of the shoulders. The back moving out as you breathe in and in as you breathe out. Perhaps noticing too the temperature changing from cooler to warmer at the nose and the back of the throat with each breath. Resting, resting. So while we're here resting with this present moment experience, the invitation then is to bring awareness to the feet. Perhaps noticing the contact of the feet against the ground or the floor or carpet. Inviting the muscles in the feet to grow soft, relax, rest. Perhaps noticing sensations of clothing against the legs. Inviting the muscles in the legs to relax, grow soft. We might also notice the weight of the body against the cushion or chair or mat. Inviting the muscles underneath those sensations to relax and rest. Perhaps noticing the hands resting against the body or touching each other. The arms resting against the body. Inviting the hands and arms to grow soft, rest. We might also notice sensations of clothing against the back. Inviting the muscles in the back to relax, unwind. There may be sensations of clothing against the shoulders. Inviting the muscles in the shoulders to rest. You may notice sensations arising from the back of the neck and the sides of the neck. Inviting the muscles in the neck to relax, rest. Perhaps noticing sensations arising throughout the cheeks of the face. Letting any tension or stress that's held in the face go. And noticing sensations arising from the top of the head. Resting, resting. And so while we're here resting with this present moment experience, we'll begin offering ourselves these very precious phrases of loving kindness, as if we were bringing ourselves the most precious, rare gift. With each phrase, briefly feeling into or visualizing what our life would look and feel like if each phrase was completely reflective of our own life circumstance. May I feel safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I live with ease. Sometimes it's nice just to hold the key word from each phrase, like safe, happy, healthy, at ease, safe, happy, healthy, at ease. Resting, resting. And so in a few moments' time, we'll begin to shift away from the guided meditation and back into a conversational space. And I'll cue that by ringing the bell 3 times. Okay, so thank you for joining me in that very brief guided meditation. Really just a way of setting the stage, a way of arriving and settling in. Maybe you've had a long day, and it's nice just to take a few minutes to feel into the breath, the body, and to offer ourselves well wishes. How lovely. So the practice of loving kindness, the practice of this unconditional care, this unconditional friendliness towards ourselves, towards others. Bringing this circle of care to our loved ones, to our family, to our friends, that's quite normal, quite natural. I think most people have some accessibility to that. But when we really begin to cultivate this ground of loving kindness for our own heart, that can be quite challenging for people. And very often the voice of the inner critic starts to rage, right? Oh, you don't deserve that, or, how could you be so self-consumed to offer yourself kindness? But studies have shown repeatedly now that with the practice of loving kindness for oneself, one starts to feel more resourced and resilient. The immune system becomes activated and much stronger with the practice of loving kindness. And basically our sense of well-being is greatly enhanced by taking time out of the day, perhaps a little bit every day, where we really contemplate being kind to ourselves, opening our heart to our own being, and holding ourselves with that kindness. And then we include people we don't know, people we don't like very much. And here, this is the terrain that we want to speak about today, where we are widening this circle of care to include perhaps people we may not like. So quite interesting here when we're considering individuals who we find challenging, who we don't like very much. We can take a look at that, because according to the Buddhist psychology, which is the teachings that I'm coming from here, we don't ever experience a challenging person necessarily, but it's probably more accurately to say that we are experiencing challenges around how we feel about this person or these people. This is quite important here. So if we can start to reframe the task at hand here, offering kindness to people we don't like, offering kindness to people who have transgressed against us, very challenging. So if we can start to reframe that to offering kindness towards people and then feeling the challenge of that in our own heart, in our own body, recognizing that it's not the person who we find challenging, but it's how we feel about that person or those people that we find so challenging. And so this is really quite empowering, because we are, prior to that reframe, we might be blaming a person or a group of people for how we feel, right? That person's so rude, of course, that I'm gonna, not like that person. That they speak to me so mean, of course. Yeah, that's true, and we're not using these practices to condone bad behavior, not at all. We're not trying to condone transgression here. But what we're recognizing is actually where the challenge point is. Because if we allow that person who speaks meanly to us to be the challenging person, then we have to wait for that person's behavior to change in order for us to feel better. In a sense, we've given that person all of our power when we frame them as being an enemy, a challenging person, a person we don't like. But if we can reclaim that, recognizing that, oh, I feel tension when I'm in this person's company because of how I feel about what that person says or does. In that reframe, we've actually reclaimed our power. Because now, all I need to do is adjust my own outlook so that I can feel better. I don't have to wait for that person to, adjust their own behavior so that I can feel better. Right? That's giving this other person an incredible amount of power. So by reclaiming that, saying, that person, I feel, edgy when I'm around that person, or that, if that person's repeatedly offended me, I get upset when I'm in that person's company. But it's not because of what they said or have done, but it's how I'm reacting to what that person said or done that brings me to this place of challenge. So when I'm offering teachings of loving kindness or any of the Brahma Viharas, compassion, joy, equanimity, in all four of those types of practices, we generally move into offering those qualities to people who challenge us, to people we don't like very much. So I take a two-pronged approach to that. First, to offer our self-compassion and kindness. Recognizing as we are, working with people who challenge us in this way, recognizing that, this isn't easy. And so in the meditation, we're generally invited to visualize the person or people we're working with. So we might visualize this person who we consider challenging, offering them loving kindness. And then, there may be resistances that come up around that. We might have thoughts of anger or fear, depending on how severe this dislike is towards this person. And then to offer our self-compassion around that. Yeah, this isn't easy. This is a challenging practice. Wow, it's really great how you're showing up doing this. And things like that we can say to ourselves. We can offer ourselves this type of support. Or perhaps we are invited to visualize this person who challenges us, and we get flooded by what they may have said or did to us that caused us pain. Again, putting a hand on the heart and saying, wow, that was really hard. Really just acknowledging the pain of that situation and the challenge inherent in this practice in and of itself. And then we offer the person who's challenging us compassion. So we offer our self-compassion around how challenging this practice might be, how challenging it might be to offer someone who transgressed against us this type of kindness. So just holding that. Then we offer that person themselves compassion and kindness, recognizing that hurt people, as the saying goes, right? And very likely that if this person really transgressed against me, it's very likely that this person is also suffering. So as a way of moving into this part of the practice, I like to offer a question. A question like, I wonder where this person is hurting. Or maybe just, where does it hurt? trying to explore perhaps this person's particular wounding and why they might be behaving in such a way. And we don't need to enter into psychoanalysis or anything like that. We don't need to pull apart this person's personality. But really just to recognize that this person hurt me, and we could probably surmise that the reason why they did that was because they themselves are hurting. So connecting to this person who challenges us with compassion. According to the Buddhist traditions, all beings want to be happy and want to avoid suffering. And that if we're causing suffering or if we're pushing away from happiness, that we're engaging in some form of reactivity. So by holding that phrase, all beings want happiness and want to avoid suffering, we really are starting to connect our humanity to the humanity of those who we might find challenging. Right? So we're going from this tribe of the family unit. That's the very typical tribe. Even in tribal cultures, the family unit was considered the tribe. And then we're expanding that out to people we don't know. So our tribe gets a little bit larger. And here in this talk, I'm speaking primarily to expanding this out to people we don't like very much. So, the qualifications, it seems to me, of a tribe is having some commonality, right? Some common ground for which the members of that tribe can meet around, right? There can be sports tribes, like people who like the San Francisco 49ers. That might be a tribe, right? Or people who like the New York Jets tribe, right? And you have tribes around people who like particular musical acts and particular types of music. Or you have breakfast clubs, or you have tribes of people who lost loved ones to cancer, things like support groups. So what if we created a tribe where the common ground was the desire to be happy and free from suffering? Well, it seems to me that would include everyone, right? And that's the idea. That's the idea. We're, attempting to, in these practices, to cultivate a global tribe where we take to heart very deeply the well-being of others who hold space within the same tribe. So offering our self-kindness and compassion, offering compassion and kindness to the other person, and then moving into those phrases of loving kindness where we hold the phrase, offer the phrase to the person we don't like, the person who challenges us. And then there will probably be some resistance around that. The resistance could be verbal, or it could just be like a mood in the mind. But it's, kind of a blocking, a shutting down. And so the invitation there is to hold the resistance lightly in the open hand of compassion. So one can consider, I often think of the resistance being like a closed fist. And that resistance shows up, and we hold that fist softly, lightly in the open hand of compassion. And then we just continue offering the phrases around that resistance. Eventually, the momentum that's created by the phrases, offering the phrases to our own heart, to the hearts of others, eventually the momentum of that does start to break down the resistance. That can take time. It can take weeks, months, or even years before we start to really feel softening around some of those resistances. So if you notice that in practice, just recognize that that's normal. We don't have to try to get rid of the resistance in any way. In fact, some of the greatest benefit of this type of practice is getting to know the resistances in a deeper and more honest way, so that we can start to work with those resistances. We can start to notice when they're there as they show up in our day-to-day experience. So perhaps somebody offers us a compliment or holds a door open for us, and immediately we feel this resistance come up. We recognize, oh, that's the same resistance from the loving kindness practice. If I put that aside, maybe I can feel into the kindness that this person just showed me by offering me that compliment, for example. So this kind of giving, this kind of generosity of heart, unconditional care, kindness, has a transformative power. This kind of offering changes both the person offering the kindness and the person receiving the kindness. It unites them. And in that unity, something really profound is born. And Jesus said in the Gospel of St. Thomas, love so that the two become one. Love so that the two become one. When we can become free from judgment, we can let go of that, condemnation. There is that opportunity of unity. There's that opportunity. So dropping the resentment, the judgment in favor for compassion, in favor of kindness. Right? Who doesn't want to live in a more kind world, a more compassionate world? I think most people could get on board with that. But it's just seeing the resistances that may be there and recognizing that that's normal, that's natural, and then continuing with the practice despite the resistances, holding the resistances lightly, not forcing anything, not pushing through anything. And we do that because we honor the intention of a kinder world. We may not, meditate on loving kindness or offer someone kindness when we see them in our day-to-day experience and think to ourselves immediately, oh, I'm doing this to create a kinder world. Probably not. But if we hold that intention, may my behavior help the world, for example. May I be a more kind being today. When we hold these types of intentions, drop by drop, the water bucket is filled. Day by day, moment by moment, we are creating or co-creating a kinder, more loving world. And what could be a more honorable pursuit than creating a kinder, more loving, more caring world than that? Okay, so I think I've spoken enough. I hope you will join me for the 8-week program. Take a deep dive with me into these really, really exquisite practices of loving kindness. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. And I will be back in a few days. I'm not sure exactly when, but around the same time of day, giving a talk on the other retreat that I'm offering, self-compassion, forgiveness, and the inner critic. Okay. Thanks once again for tuning in. I wouldn't be here without you all, so I really, really do appreciate you because I love doing these. And I will ring the bell to close us out and make it official. So thank you again. Thank you. Have a great weekend.